Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is FTF Shim Guy from FTF Gaming. We got a new game series coming out for you guys. It's called How to Enjoy. So you know how you buy a game for $60 or $70 and you're having a hard time enjoying it. Well, that's where we come in. We're gonna be playing games and telling you how to make the best of it, whether it's a good game or a bad game. We're just gonna be giving you our best tips and tricks on how to enjoy it and what works and what doesn't work and things like that. So what any other way to start better off than Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2? Probably the most anticipated game right now, especially for multiplayer. I know you got Warzone coming out in the season 1 update and all that good stuff. So we're gonna start off with multiplayer. Um, I do pretty well at Call of Duty. I get 50 kill games, I get 30 kill games, 40 kill games. I do really well. I usually finish top of the leaderboard most of the time. So I'm just gonna give you some tips and tricks that's gonna help you enjoy Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 a lot better and to become a better player. Now, tip number one. Probably the most important thing that comes down to any Call of Duty you ever played in the history of Call of Duty. I've been playing Call of Duty since, Call of Duty 3 when they first had multiplayer going on. I don't know if they had Call of Duty multiplayer before that, but for this sake, we're going to say I've been playing Call of Duty for a long time. So, if you're playing on a map and it's big or it's small or it has a lot of cover or it has a lot of buildings or it's outside, inside, that matters. What helps you understand that's going to make you do better is that pay attention to the flow of the map. If you're playing on a map and it's a big map, it's easy to say, or it's common knowledge to use a gun that has better range. Snipers, marksman rifles, you got your battle rifles, stuff like that. So make sure you're using the right weapon for the job. Second thing is spawns. This Call of Duty is a lot better with spawns, except for a couple maps. But at the end of the day, if you're getting spawn trapped and you can't get out of it, here's some things that help you. If you're getting spawn trapped, throw smoke grenades or use guns that's going to help you better in close combat, or just leave the match. Don't get frustrated, just leave the match. I watch plenty of streamers, I watch plenty of pro Call of Duty players. A lot of times they leave the match when they see they getting spawn trapped or their teammates are trash or the connection is bad. They leave for a lot of reasons. Maybe they're just not doing good. And that's how they obtain them high kill ratios, because if they're playing in a match and they're not doing well, they can tell by the flow of the match, so they leave before it gets too bad. My second thing is, when it comes to playing on a map, make sure you understand what your teammates are doing as well. If everybody is sniping, it's going to make the map a lot more slower than it would any other map. Another thing too is, if everybody's rushing, make sure you're prepared. Make sure you're using a gun that has faster rate of fire. Make sure you're using a weapon that has aim down sight speed faster. Things of that nature. So my main thing is that knowing a map is gonna help you to know when to walk around corners, know what areas to watch out for when it comes to snipers, know what areas are close quarters for shotguns and grenades and anything that's annoying or that's a given for a map. So once you figure those things out, you have a lot more fun playing Call of Duty. Now my second tip. Now this may be a gimme as well, but it's very important. The gun that you're using. Sometimes using the gun that you like is not good for that map. Now it may have a good fire range, or it might have a good range of fire, rate of fire. But if you're playing on a map that's has a lot of cover or has a lot of it's not far distance or a far range kind of map, but if it has a lot of cover and there's a lot of corners, you need a gun with better accuracy. If you're playing with a gun that has a good rate of fire, but the accuracy is terrible, you're gonna have a terrible time trying to kill people, because they're constantly camping, they're constantly hiding behind stuff, they're constantly mounting their weapons. So if you have a gun that's inaccurate, by the time you try to shoot them, it's gonna be too late because your gun is not hitting the mark. The next thing is, make sure if you are using the same weapon, you're trying to get skins, you're trying to get attachments, use the attachments that's going to help you on that map. If you're playing on an outside map that has far range, use an ACOG scope, use attachments that's going to give you damage range, and that's going to help you get to where you're trying to go. Now, there's a lot of different stats this year, and the things that I've noticed this year so far that helps you is bullet velocity is for the rate of fire, and damage range is for how many bullets it takes to kill an enemy from far range. So what's going to end up happening is that if you're playing close quarters, you want to focus on aim down sight speed, and you're going to worry about bullet velocity. The next thing is a lot of guns feel different this year. So you may have your sensitivity high, but not every gun aims the same. So if you're using a heavy weapon, it aims slower too. Like when you try to aim, it moves slower as well. It's not just, the rate of fire or the aim down sight speed. It's actually how the gun handles. Like if you use a TAC, the TAC, whatever it is, that gun is powerful, but man, it's really slow. If you got people rushing you or you got people in your face, it's hard if they're jump shotting and drop shotting and running back and forth and sliding. It's hard to use that weapon because even when you have your sensitivity high, the gun is still a lot slower when it comes to aiming, when it comes to reloading, and when it comes to just walking around the map, whether it's running or walking. So just pay attention to that. Now, my last tip of the day was probably the most important, is setup, guys, and your settings. So what I mean by setup, I mean, if you're playing on an 80-inch TV, there's no way you're going to be able to compete with people who have a monitor that responds at half a second response time, or half a millisecond response time, or they have a 177 hertz monitor, which on console is only 120 frames per second. But if your HD TV that's 80 inches only has 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, they're seeing everything, or the game is a lot more responsive, twice as fast as your TV. So think about that. And another thing is make sure you turn off your texture streaming. That also makes the game have a little latency, and also make sure your motion blur is off. Now, some people like the motion blur because it makes it seem more realistic and more action packed, but the motion blur, it can affect your response time a lot. Now, depending on how you like to play, I feel like that makes me respond, or it makes me a little dizzy. So if you take the motion blur off of the gun and for your movement, it's a lot more effective. Another thing is make sure you customize your controller layout the way you need to. I play tactical because I like to run and duck and slide on the go without having to, think about it too much or move my finger placement in order to complete an action. So most people, think about it. It's not like the old Call of Duties when you can knife people from fucking 6 feet away. They pistol whip, and it takes like 2 or 3 hits before you can even kill anybody. So using the analog to crouch and slide and prone, I think that's a lot more effective when you're using on an analog stick than it is circle. Now, another thing that a lot of people don't realize is Wi-Fi. Now, if you're far away from your Wi-Fi, it's going to be a lot more slower. The response time is going to be a lot more delayed. If you can, use the Ethernet cord. If not, try to get as closest to your router as you can. If you have your TV in the back of your room, maybe try to set it up towards the front of the room so the connection is better. Or if you can do this, a lot of my friends tell me they do this. They buy a Wi-Fi extender. It's pretty much something you plug in your wall, and you can plug the Ethernet cord into there, and it makes the Wi-Fi connection and internet connection a lot more better and a lot more smooth. So that's it, guys. Those are the tips that I have for today to help me better at Call of Duty. Knowing your map, making sure you know what gun you're using for the job, and having your setup, your settings, your internet, and make sure you're not playing on an 80-inch TV when you're trying to play multiplayer, because it's affecting your response time. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. I hope these tips are useful. Once again, this is FTF Shim Guy from FTF Gaming. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoying the game as much as I am. See you next time.